This is Riley from MakeUseOf.com, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Moto G4 Plus. This is the 4th generation of the Moto G line, and it's the best yet. For only $300, you get an extremely solid smartphone that could rival $700 flagship devices. This version of the G4 Plus has 4GB of RAM and 64GB of storage, though there is a $250 version available with 2GB of RAM and 16GB of storage, but the upgrade is absolutely worth it. Aside from that, the G4 Plus has a Snapdragon 617 processor, a 5.5-inch 1080p LCD screen, a fingerprint scanner, a 16-megapixel rear-facing camera, and a 5-megapixel front-facing camera. The device itself is made entirely of plastic, so it doesn't have the all-metal premium feel of other devices like the HTC 10 or OnePlus 3. But the textured plastic is pretty grippable, and I actually kind of like it. The backplate is removable, which is where you'll find slots for the SIM card and microSD card, but the battery is not replaceable. The curved plastic design is weirdly reminiscent of the Samsung Galaxy S3, so it won't be winning any design awards, but it's not bad. The fingerprint sensor located below the screen looks deceitfully like a home button, but it's not. The G4 Plus uses the software keys built into Android, but the fingerprint sensor is still quite a handy feature. It's super fast and doesn't require you to wake the phone with the power button first. Speaking of which, both the power button and the volume rocker are on the right side of the device. The headphone jack, which it does have, is on the top, and the micro USB port is on the bottom. Unfortunately, the G4 Plus doesn't use the reversible USB Type-C, which is the new standard replacing the old micro USB. Considering that most phones are now switching over to Type-C, this could leave the G4 Plus feeling old pretty quickly. The cameras are probably the weakest part of this phone. Despite having pretty good resolution and performing well in good outdoor lighting, they really struggle in low light. If your situation isn't perfectly lit, you're probably going to come out with blurry and grainy photos. The main speaker is built into the earpiece, so you do actually get a front-facing speaker that's relatively loud, and the screen looks great. Though some devices are now squeezing in 2K displays, the 1080p panel on the G4 Plus is more than adequate. Software-wise, the G4 Plus beats out most other phones. It runs a nearly stock version of Android 6.0 Marshmallow with only a single added app called Moto that allows for some gestures and notification alerts. This means that it should be easier and quicker for this phone to get updates, and it means less bloatware, which shows in the performance. Despite having a technically slower processor than other flagship devices, I almost never noticed any lag. It really doesn't feel like a budget device. Even the battery life was above average. The 3000 mAh battery got me through a day with no problem. I could squeeze out 5 to 6 hours of screen on time with ease, and I never really worried about it dying early. Overall, the Moto G4 Plus is a solid phone for a low price. I'd argue that it's the best phone in its price range. But the camera is mediocre, its build quality isn't the best, and the fact that it still uses micro USB instead of Type-C is disappointing. Still, for $300, it's a great deal. Be sure to head on over to MakeUseOf.com to read the full review and see how you could win a Moto G4 Plus for yourself.